What's going on, people? This is just a quick clip recorded a couple of weeks after this first episode that you're about to watch. The truth is, I absolutely fluffed this episode to the point where I told my editor that I wanted to delete it, and we go again. That isn't fully authentic, which is like what I wanted to bring to this, but you are going to have to bear with me while we just go through a couple of, probably just the first episode's a little bit rough. Thank you all for listening. Like I said, I'm trying to stay authentic. I want these to be minimal cuts as possible, these podcasts. But this one we've kind of had to cut down because of just how bad this went. But you're going to watch me grow. You're going to watch me on this journey. Thank you all. What is happening? Ladies and gentlemen, my name's James and this is the first ever episode of Business Diaries, Real Startup Stories. You're probably wondering why I'm sat here. Who's this guy? Who am I? Why am I doing this? Some of you will be wondering, who's this dickhead starting a podcast? Others of you will be thinking, thank God, he's finally done it. I've been talking about it for ages and we're finally here. We got a setup, we got a little studio, I've got my little microphone, we're ready to go. So what is this podcast? What's it going to be about? Why are you tuning in? Why do I want you to tune in? Well, listen, I've got a little bit of background in business and I can sit and I can talk for hours because it interests me. And what I'm hoping to take from this is if I can get some guests on and I can learn something about it, I think you can too. And that's the be all and end all of it. I'm hoping to bring you value because I was once upon a time sat in my bedroom, 16 years old. I wanted to start something, but I had no idea what I wanted to start. I wanted to get into business, but I had no direction, no guidance around me. Hopefully this can be your guidance. Whether you're 16 years old and you want to start a clothing brand, whether you're 55 and you're sick of what you're doing and you just want to start a coffee shop somewhere. How do you start it? Where do we go? What's the first steps? I'm hoping that I can bring guests onto this show that you will enjoy, that I'll enjoy sitting down with and talking to. And it's all about the startup because I listen to a lot of business podcasts and they're incredible, don't get me wrong. But you listen to these people that are millionaires and billionaires and they talk about their problems that they've got now, and they talk about, even if they talk about where they started, they say you've got to lay the foundations. What are the foundations? So let's take a clothing company, for example. Where do you start? You should probably start with maybe a logo. I don't know, I've never done this. You should probably start with maybe a logo, but then you need to try and source clothes. Where do you source clothes from? Where do you find the supplier? How do you ask for tests? How do you do this? If you want to start, let's say a coffee shop, where do you start? What do you do? What do you look at? What are the hidden expenses that you don't know about? I don't want this to be a boring podcast where we sit here and we talk about spreadsheets and balance sheets and accountancy stuff, and because nobody wants to listen to that, and it will bore me, it will bore you, I know it will. I want to hear the time that you couldn't afford your wages that were coming out on Friday and you nearly had to sell your car to be able to afford the wages to keep the roof over your head and keep this business running. That's what I want to do. I want to speak to some interesting guests, and we've got a cool lineup coming. It's going to be people from different business sectors in different parts around Cornwall, because we're going to start local. You've got to start somewhere. Going to start in my hometown, but who knows where we can take this. If this could take off like I want it to take off, we can get some real cool guests on. If you have anybody that you would love for me to sit down with and have a conversation with, I'd love to do that. Put us in contact. They're going to be sat opposite this table and I'll just pick their brains. I'll pick their brains about where they started, what they've got going on. My next point is kind of irrelevant now because I fucked up so much. I want this to be as raw and authentic as possible. You're going to see the real version of me. I post a little bit on TikTok. I post a little bit on Instagram. It's very different to sitting down, speaking to a camera for 20, 30 minutes. And I apologise already. These solo episodes, especially at the beginning, they're going to be a bit choppy. They're going to be a bit... This is all very new to me. So as I learn, I want you guys to learn with me. Everyone always says, Not everyone needs a podcast, and I fully understand that. But if I gain nothing from this other than experience, I've still won. If this doesn't take off how we'd want it to take off, or we don't get the traction that we want to get traction for. But through it, I've sat down with some cool people. I've learned some interesting things. Maybe I can apply that in my own business and throughout my life as well, because I don't want this to just be about business. I want this to be about life. I want this to be about mental health. I want this to just be about how we get through what we get through, because you might be sat at home with dreams and aspirations, and like I said before, you don't know how to get there, or you're scared to make the jump, or you don't think you've got enough time in the day to be able to do the things that you want to do. Speaking from experience, I'm not saying it's been easy, but I'm trying to juggle everything here. I've got 3 daughters, 3 beautiful daughters at home, so I've got home life, just got a puppy, just to add into the mix. It's chaos, little Vinny. I have my own personal development, so I want to be able to go gym and train and do all of these things, so I've got to squeeze all of those things in. I own a restaurant. We did have 2 locations, but I'll get into that in a minute. I own a restaurant. We've got a couple of Airbnb properties on our portfolio, and we're looking to expand that. So some of you might be thinking, oh, well, I want to do this, but I currently have all of this going on in my life, so that's not possible. But maybe sitting down, listening to me talk here today, or in the future, or future episodes, it may give you the inspiration or the aspiration to be able to make that leap, make that jump, and chase after your dreams. Because let's be honest, we've all got dreams and we're bored of being broke. So even if you can make an extra £100 a month because you decided to start something, or maybe you could leave your 9 to 5 or leave the job that you hate because you want this thing to take off. I want to help you get there. And like I said before, if I gain nothing from this other than experience, I still come out a winner. I want to learn how to be able to sit down calmly. I just had to take 5 a second ago because I got myself all worked up. I'm probably still a little bit red now. Doesn't matter. I've already given you a brief explanation of what my background is and what businesses I own, what I've got going on in my life. But we've also got other things, other projects coming up that I want to talk a little bit about today. I said we've got 2 properties in our Airbnb portfolio. We've just signed on for 3 more 2-bedroom houses over in Summer Court that this month we need to kit out and get ready and get live on Airbnb, booking.com, launching for our own app as well. Just last month, we've extended our restaurant. So our restaurant has now gone to 2 floors. We've now got a games room upstairs, and it was literally working against the clock to get this ready for December, to get this ready for the Christmas parties. So as well as a restaurant, when I've got a games room, the restaurant is also a bar, cocktail bar, opens till late on the Friday, Saturday nights. Can get lively. We're in the hottest and hostel, so it's not always the liveliest. So as well as trying to be the man of the house, I got 3 girls puppy, that is chaos in itself. Anybody who's got kids out there, you know that 1 kid, stressful, and it's a lot. You add another kid into it, yeah, we're ramping it up. I got 3 of them, all girls as well, 8, 4 and 2, and they run circles around me. But this year, I'm running London Marathon in April, or at least I'm supposed to be. I started my training early December to give myself sort of slightly over 20 weeks to train for this marathon. You can probably see the size of me. I'm not built for running. I once did a half marathon probably about 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, ran a half marathon, and I managed to get into this. It's for children with cancer. I got in through a charity, and what an incredible cause. So it's an honour to be able to raise some money for this charity. But it also means I've got to do the dirty work. I've got to run this marathon. At least I thought I was going to. At least I'm still trying to hype myself up to be able to. Early December, I started my training. I've gone out for an early run, 6 a.m. start. We had the launch of the games room upstairs. This is how it all came about. We had the launch of the games room. It was launching on a Friday night. I thought I'm going to get up. I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to feel on top of the world. Nothing can stop me today. I'm 3.5 miles into this run, and there is a road. a road that I know is half a mile. So I thought, I'm going to finish on a 4-miler. I'm going to give it my all on this half mile. That was the start of the training. That was my second run into my marathon training. Anyway, halfway down this road, I ran into a road closed sign and a barrier blocking the street. And I kind of thought to myself, it's road closed for cars. It's not road closed for people. Well, that's where I went wrong. So in the pitch black, I've got my phone torch as I'm running. I've gone around this barrier. I'm probably like 10 paces past this barrier, and I've absolutely stacked it fell into some roadworks, buckled my ankle, scuffed my knees, face planted the floor. I did some damage. I posted it on my socials. My ankle was horrible. It was swollen. It was bruised. I had bruising all up my leg, and we're now 5 or 6 weeks out, or after I've hurt my ankle, and it still isn't there. So I've got a big dilemma. I've got something that I really want to achieve, which is the London Marathon. I got an email last week saying that you're 16 weeks out. And at this point, I was hoping to be like 6 weeks. Probably should have been about 10 weeks into training. But as of this week, I'm 15 weeks out from the marathon. I don't know if I'm going to be able to run it. I am not David Goggins. I'm not going to put myself through lifelong injuries to try and prove a point to myself. It breaks me because I am the person, as soon as I hurt my ankle, I've gone to the hospital, got x-rayed. I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but they said you're probably going to be out for like 4 to 6 weeks. Well, I looked at my girlfriend and I said, I'll be back running in 3. 3 brought me to Boxing Day, or roundabouts. And at that point, I was like, yeah, cool. Don't have it in me. I'm now like 5 weeks post-injury, and I still don't know if I've got it in me. 15 weeks out from a marathon. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. We're going to take it day by day. Training starts this week, and we're just going to see if I can do it. I don't want to dip out. I'm not that guy that just bails on stuff. This is the point right now where it's either like I am back training and I'm going to go do it, or we're just going to call it. We're not going to do it. But here's what I am going to do. If I don't, I'm going to focus so heavily on fitness. I want to get into the best shape of my life. I turn 30 next year. I want to enter my 30s in the best shape of my life. So every morning, 6 a.m, non-negotiable, I'm up, I'm going to the gym. I just switched gyms over to Muscle Machine, and by God, was it probably the best decision I've ever made. It is an incredible gym. I get so excited in the morning. It literally gets me out of bed to go and train, and that is the drive. It sets myself up for the day. I love it. I massively love it. 2026, we're getting in the best shape of our life. I may not run a marathon, but I am going to focus heavily on fitness. Focus on fitness and focus on my mental health, because that is what's important. But I want your opinion. What would you do in my scenario here? I'm 15 weeks out. I could probably grit my teeth through a half marathon, but I definitely cannot run a marathon. Is it worth potentially damaging my ankle more to try and prove a point to myself, or should I take the rest? We can recoup. We can do it again next year. Have you ever had an injury that's completely ruined your plans of what you wanted to do? What did you do in that scenario? Did you just like train through it? Did you give up? Have you never gone back to that same thing? I'd be very interested to know like what other people's opinions are, because like I speak to a lot of people now and they say you've got to run this marathon, and then I speak to other people and they say it's not worth it, and I'm torn. So I'd love to hear from you guys. What the fuck should I do? Training will start this week. We'll see. I'm going to start with like a walk-run kind of method, but I am quite literally starting from zero. We've just launched our first ever bottomless brunch cluck and chuck party, and it sold out in 2 days. We've got a lot of disappointed people because they couldn't make the cut and they haven't secured their tickets. We had 50 seats, and it sold out in 2 days, which is incredible. So incredible. We've got a DJ coming into the restaurant. We've got 50 people sat down. They're all going to be doing bottomless brunch. You get a meal with it. We've got 90 minutes of unlimited flowing drinks. And then the other 90 minutes following after that is just going to be a party. Everyone's going to be merry. Everyone's going to be enjoying themselves. They're going to be a little bit pissed. And then we've got a DJ. You're going to be up dancing, throwing a party. But if you did not make the cut for this one, we have more coming. I do not have dates yet. By the time that this episode comes out, we may have already released the date, so who knows. But the next one, sneak peek, I think it's going to be an R&B anthems, which was my vote from the start. A bit of like 2000s R&B. Yes. Make sure you don't miss it. This is all about making money. I want to help you. I want to help you better yourself. I want to help you maybe take a leap that you've been scared to do. I want to make you some money. I want to put you in a position where you are more knowledgeable. And there's one thing that I don't know why I've ever shied away from it, but I'm gonna use myself as a tester. And by the time that the next solo episode comes out, I'm going to give you the results to see whether it was worth it or not. So use me as your test rat. TikTok shop, you hear it everywhere, you see it everywhere. People apparently printing cash on it. I can sell stuff on TikTok shop. I can promote products and stuff. I've always shied away from it because I don't want people to think that I'm like money grabbing and trying to do this, but I'm also an absolute fanatic for ordering stuff off TikTok shop. It's cheap. It's like eBay back in the day. I love it. So I have probably a portfolio of like 20 or 30 products that I can promote. So I'm going to use myself as a test subject. I'm going to make some videos, try and promote this, and see if I can make some money from it, purely for educational purposes. Because if I can do it, why can't you? And maybe we can make some money from this. Maybe they're faceless. Maybe it's me on the camera. I don't know yet. I'm going to play it out. I'm going to see how this goes. But this, by the time we do our next solo episode, I'm going to have all the facts and all the figures. And I could say, I spent hours doing this, made 30, 40, 50, 100 videos. I didn't make a penny. It's pointless. Or I could come back and say, yeah, cool, we made some money. So stay tuned for that. I think I'm going to wrap this podcast up here. I've given you a little bit about myself, a little bit of my background. I'm going to dive into all of these things a little bit extra. I'd love for you to follow along for my journey. The more that you support here, the more that I can try and give, the more that I can try and give value for. These episodes are going to be streamed on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. We're probably going to be posting on X. We're going to have shorts and reels, hopefully everywhere. Please follow, please like, please subscribe, comment down below if you have any guests, if you want me to sit down with people, if you want, what do you want from this? Because I will make it happen. I will make it happen. Thanks for listening. I want to keep this nice and short and sweet. I'm not going to bore you forever. Peace. Love you all.